James, why is it so hard to win here as a Wallaby?
I think it's pretty hard to win here as any country. Historically, the All Blacks have done really well here, and they've turned it into a pretty strong fortress for themselves. So, history's against us, but we're coming here confident that we can perform. So, we know it's going to take a big effort, but it's, in my career, it's always been a tough outing.
Do you talk about it much? I mean, you've got guys in the team who've won Super Rugby games here.
Yeah, well, I think most of us have won Super Games here, but it's Test match rugby. There's a lot on the lines. We're playing against some of the best teams in the world at the Test level. So anywhere you play is pretty tough, and Eden Park's no different, if not probably the hardest. So I think it just historically it's been tough for us, but we haven't touched on it too much. At some point, one team will win here, and we want to be that team.
Your coach yesterday made some interesting comments. Did the Wallabies disrespect the Haka last week?
No, we respect the Haka. We respect the All Black team. Every game we come up against New Zealand, we know it's going to be a tough outing, and you got to pay your respects to that. Historically they're a successful team and nation in rugby, and they've won the Bledisloe for the last 20 years. So we do respect them. We're just accepting the challenge. And we feel like
you'll do that again tomorrow night?
Oh, we don't know yet, but we haven't actually discussed it. But for us, that's our way of respecting it, by taking up the challenge.
Can I ask how you came up with the boomerang response?
We've been doing the boomerang for about 3 years, ever since Rens came in. It was just our unique way to accept the challenges. Nothing too much from what it is, really.
So I'm not Maori, and I don't know your background, but I guess you're not as well. Are you led by Rennie in that sort of cultural understanding sort of framework, and what's appropriate, what's not?
No, we definitely talk all together as a team. But Ren's he initiated the boomerang, and there's plenty of boys. All of us boys really want to involve the Indigenous culture within our nation. We find that's really important. We played in the Indigenous jersey a few times now each year, and that's something we're really proud of. So it's just a little bit of a taste of our nation and our way of accepting the challenge, mate.
Did you hear the on-field feedback from Rico?
No, I didn't actually. I only played the first half, so apparently we disrespected the Haka or something like that. But by no means was that the case, in my opinion.
A lot happened during the game and has happened since Melbourne. How much extra spice will there be here tomorrow night, do you think, James?
Well, I think it's good. As I said earlier, we've lost the trophy, and that's probably the most important thing that has come out of game one, and that's the disappointing thing. But for us, every time you get to pull on the Wallaby jersey, it's a proud moment for us as players. But to play against the All Blacks is, for us as an Australian team, we love it.
So despite the cup being gone for another year, there's still...
Oh, there's plenty riding on this. We haven't won here since the 80s, mate. So, it's going to be a big effort from us to get the result, but we're pretty hell-bent on getting a performance in.
So before you were born, I think?
Yeah, just. Yeah. I'm still born in the 80s, but half our team are born in the 2000s. So,
there you go.
Yeah, it's been a while between drinks, and it's something that kind of hurts me.
While we're talking about old blokes, how good is it to see Bernard Foley in his career renaissance?
Yeah, it's great. The little piggy played really well on the weekend or on Thursday, so he gets another crack this weekend, and he's been a massive addition to our squad. Just that, as you said, experience, just having that voice within the group. It's vital for us as a squad, especially going into the World Cup, having a couple of experienced players around the group. We've obviously lost a lot of players this year through injuries. We've lost Quady. We've lost Sami. There's a handful of guys that are key members of our group, and to have someone like Nardi come in and add has been really good for us. So hopefully he plays well tomorrow.
What would it mean to you to win here?
Oh, it'd mean a hell of a lot. It's been that long since we've won here, and most of the boys have won here at Super Rugby, but I think for us, winning here would, every game you play, you're trying to win. It's just a matter about getting it done and not talking about it. So it's a Bledisloe game. The trophy's won by the ABs, but we're not taking it as a dead rubber.
What do you expect from the Irish
Pardon?
What do you expect from the Irish referee tomorrow night?
Oh, I expect a good game. The one thing about the last week's game, it was actually a really, really good game to play in and to watch as well. It was, in terms of the game itself, it was a cracker. That's the unfortunate thing about the outcome of it was, we were talking about the refereeing, and it kind of took away from the game itself. So, in terms of the refereeing, we got full confidence in the referees this weekend, and hopefully we have another cracking game like we did last week.
If they're going to ref it one way, you want consistency,
From
right? From a World Rugby point of view, if that's how they're going to do things, then.
Well, consistency. You talk about consistency. It's interesting because I haven't seen some of those calls before. So, I guess we'll find out tomorrow if it's consistent or not.
With the boomerang, is that something you do against Fiji and Samoa and Tonga as well, or the other teams you do it?
We haven't really played too much against those teams, but it's something that we'll probably look at, definitely.
And how much do you take out of the comeback you guys had last week, and about how well you finished in the game? Is that get lost in all the sort of talk about what happened? But is that something
it certainly wasn't lost in on the inside of our group. We spoke about the character we've shown. Definitely in the second half, we were down to 13 men there for a while, and that's when the ABs piled on the points. And they're a team it's hard enough playing against with 15 players. So we did well to fight back in the game, and we did well to get our noses in front there at the end. It just it was just a tough way to lose the game. But extremely proud of the way the boys turned up, and what we're after is just another performance like that.
Last couple, thanks. Can I ask, given the Rugby Championship still on the line, is there a belief that you can win it this year?
Oh, there's always a belief. If there's a chance of winning it, we're always going to strive for our best. So, unfortunately, we're in a position where other results have to go a certain way, and it's probably that's something that most teams don't want to be in, that sort of position. But that's where we are now, and I think for us, we're just focusing on playing the All Blacks here at Eden Park tomorrow, mate. And the wash-up will happen, and we'll see where we end up.
Can I ask about Suni Vunivalu? Because I think a lot of fans are pretty excited when he announced.
Suli?
Yes, thank you. When he announced his changing coach, he hasn't seen a lot of minutes. He's not played in the Rugby Championship. How's he going? How's he looking in training? In the squad?
Yeah, he's coming along well. He's obviously had quite a few injuries, especially through Super Rugby. So, from my point of view, not being at his club, I wasn't too sure what was going on there with his hamstring. So, for him, at the moment he's really fit and he's training well, and he'll feature at some point throughout the year. And I think for him, he just needs to get that time in the saddle, one on the training paddock, and then hopefully get some game time later in the year.
And just an extension to this question, would it be bittersweet or ironic in any way if you won at Eden Park but didn't win the Bledisloe Cup?
Yeah, that's actually a really tough question, because I'd throw in most of my games, mate, to win the Bledisloe. So, winning here is our focus now, because at the end of the day, the Bledisloe's lost. So our focus is just winning here tomorrow and making sure that we just stick to our game plan and our process to getting the job done.